Now recording. Ben. Where's
Welcome.
mine?
Welcome.
How are you?
Welcome.
Hello,
everybody.
Alright, we're gonna
Welcome to a lockdown Sunday in Kildare.
lockdown Sunday in Kildare. How is the how's the business going?
Well, I mean, previous to Friday, it was going
Yeah.
absolutely unreal.
You were happy with things the way initially you were happy with the way things were.
Yeah, it was flying, dude. It was absolutely flying. Are we going to eat pizza and drink beers while we do this podcast?
We're gonna eat pizzas and drink beer.
All right, nice.
And tell me the biggest frustrations you have going forward now for this 2-week lockdown.
I think it just feels like so with the first lockdown, like big lockdown, I was worried and frustrated and all the things that you'd expect any business owner to be, right?
Yeah.
But it made sense to me. Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah.
like the whole lockdown, the reasoning behind it all made sense. The thing with this is this feels unfair. You know, this doesn't feel like it's well thought out in any way, which is, I suppose, the frustrating thing. So yeah, I don't know, man. This 2-week local that isn't really local lockdown is just frustrating and angers me.
Well, we spoke a little bit off anyway before you landed, and
Yeah.
one of the things that we had discussed was the salmon leaping leak slip can stay open because their postcode is Dublin.
Yeah, but then people that live in Leaksup can't go to the Salmon Leap because that would be leaving Kildare.
Now, just for people who, obviously we all know where the salmon leap is, but it's literally a bridge. There's a bridge right across into
Yeah,
it.
so the bridge in Leaksup is the county borderline, right? For anyone that doesn't know, like, we're talking about this from Selbridge, Leakslip, Maynooth. I mean, we're in Clane now, but we're talking that kind of area of Kildare. So we're way closer to Dublin than we are to where these corona outbreaks happened. You know, like we're 30 something kilometers away from Timahoe, where the meat plant was,
Yeah.
and we're 3 kilometers away from Lucan. But we could travel to Timahoe, fine, but we can't travel to Lucan. Like, I don't know. Are you trying to find an angle with that where we're both in it?
Yeah, well, it's not working very well, is it? Yeah, that'll do.
That's a bit better, yeah.
That'll do. So it's a 2-week lockdown essentially, right? But what doesn't make much sense is that the likes of retail can stay open.
No, you see, like, I'm okay with retail staying open, right? That doesn't bother me. I don't think businesses should be closed down. My issue is that they're using an arbitrary county line that was made in the 18th fucking century to dictate because of one cluster in one specific part of Kildare. Like, look at it, right? Timahoe is 5 kilometres away from the Meath border, right? Enfield, as a town, is in Meath and is 12 kilometres away from Timahoe, right? But because Enfield's in Meath, they can stay open. Selbridge, where Chaos is based, is 30 kilometres away from Timahoe.
Yeah.
But we have to close? Like, this whole thing just reeks of, oh, it's convenient to just use county lines, rather than let's actually put a little bit of thought into how we do this. Now, it's just like, oh, we've had an outbreak in Kildare, let's lock Kildare down. But I mean, to put that in perspective, like, if you were in Dublin, if there was an outbreak in Howth, would you close down all of Dublin? Like, it doesn't make sense, you know?
No. I can't see the likes of Holt, or if it was the outbreak that Kildare suffered, South Kildare, I can't see Dublin closing down at all.
No.
It's all comes down to the makes of money.
And then you look at the cases today, right? Today alone, which is what, Sunday the 9th, whatever it is. Kildare had 19 cases. Dublin had 17 cases. All of Kildare's cases are in that cluster of meat factories and direct provision centres, right? Dublin's are actually close contacts and community spread, which is more dangerous because you don't really know then who that person's interacted with, and they're more likely to be walking around spreading it. But Kildare stays in lockdown and Dublin stays open. Look, and this is not a Kildare versus Dublin thing. I don't want people to think I want Dublin to close down. I don't want Dublin to close down. I just don't think Kildare should have closed down either. Like, I timed it yesterday. I left the gym and I drove from the gym to the county border, right, which is on the M4 between the 2 exits for Selbridge, right? It took me 3 minutes from the front door of my gym until I was at the Dublin border. So if I have a direct competitor, which I do, that are 5-6 minutes away from me, but they're inside Dublin, they can stay open. I can't. Like, it doesn't make any sense, man.
What was the distance that you worked out between Timahoe and Chaos Gym? 35
kilometers, yeah.
Door to door.
Door to door.
And
but I could drive to Timahoe under these restrictions, right? I could drive to Timahoe, but I couldn't drive 3 minutes further away to Lucan.
we made a point there, guys, that Dan Lynch, stop eating.
Never.
Well, we made a point that the Weston Road in Selbridge
Yeah.
is
Dublin.
but the people will go to Selbridge, to Super Value in Selbridge, for food or for their shop.
But like, even think about it, right? So before you moved to Clane, if I was driving from my house in Selbridge to your house in Leixlip, I would have driven along that Western Road. So I would have gone out of Kildare into Dublin to go back into Kildare. But under these restrictions, I can't do that. Like, that doesn't make sense. It's just a really ill thought out response to a problem that needed a response.
Yeah.
And they were like, okay, well, what can we do really quickly? Let's use a line that hasn't really been relevant since the 18th century, apart from GA matches. Like, that's the only thing that county lines actually matter for.
Yeah. And what's the plan for the business going forward?
So we've essentially gone back to where we were before we were able to reopen, right? So we're allowed to do outdoor classes with groups of 15 people. So for the next 2 weeks, that's kind of going to be what we're doing. I still have to sort out days and times and stuff. So if clients are waiting for me to message them about that, I will do it.
There's a reason behind that. Yeah.
No, I just.
Do you feel like it's a waste of all the hard work you put in to try and open up and follow all the guidelines to now be told you're shutting back down again?
I don't think it's a waste. I mean, the 6 weeks that we were allowed to be open, I mean, anybody that was there will tell you it was a pretty productive, pretty good 6 weeks, like training wise and like from a business point of view from the gym. I mean, we've literally, honestly, we've been busier than we've ever been, right? And I think I hope that everybody that tells you that came through the door, they would tell you that the restrictions we had in place were spot on. Like, you know, we maintained social distancing between everybody. Every piece of equipment was wiped down between every single use. Yeah. Everybody, when they come in, had to sign a form saying they had no symptoms of COVID, hadn't been in contact with anybody that did. You know, we took as many precautions as we possibly could. And the frustrating part of this is myself, and I know loads of other small business owners in Kildare that were doing absolutely everything that they possibly could to make sure that things were right, has now been fucked over because a few meat factories couldn't provide their employees with a safe place to work.
Or PPE, you said?
Yeah, now I don't know how true that is. That's something that I heard online, is that the factories weren't providing their employees with PPE. They were expected to bring their own. Yeah. I read a whole article about the state of working in the meat factories and stuff like that. It's just like, the thing that's really annoying about that is throughout all of lockdown, even in the 2 kilometre from your home essential travel only phase of lockdown, right? Clusters were popping up in meat factories. So they've known they've known that meat factories have been a risk for months now. And they haven't done anything to curtail it. Right? Like, they keep saying pubs can't reopen because pubs have a risk of spreading COVID. Well, like, motherfucker, we've got an example of an industry here where not a theoretical risk of spreading COVID. We have seen time and time and time again that these factories develop into these clusters. But nothing's being done about it. And now it's like, oh shit, now this one's got bad. Okay, now we have to do something. Instead of being proactive and being like, we know this is going to kick off at some stage. Yeah. Let's do something. Let's put better restrictions in place. Let's have more unannounced HSA inspections. Because, like, I don't know about anybody else, but since we were open, I haven't been inspected. At all. I was inspected by the WC's something, the workplace commission, right, to make sure that I had return to work protocols in place that were safe for my staff to come back in. But HSA is in the Health and Safety Authority. Like, I haven't been inspected with them. Like, you know, and like, if I haven't been, I'm sure there are thousands of other small businesses that haven't been. And we've got, like, there is literal, both anecdotal and real evidence that these meat plants produce clusters. So why hasn't anything been done about it until now? And now it's like, okay, well, these meat plants produce a cluster. Let's screw over every other small business. Like, how many restaurants and cafes that were already struggling? Like, okay, I'm going to talk about gyms.
Or who won't open again after this.
Or who won't open again after this, yeah. Or like, you know, it's so disheartening to be like, we went through 3 months of lockdown. Like, the gym was closed down for like 16 weeks, I think, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
To be allowed to reopen again and to be finally starting to feel like, okay, we're hitting our stride here. We know this is going well. To then be like, nah, some meat factory plants nearly 40 kilometers away from you had a few outbreaks, lads. You have to close down again. You're like, motherfucker, like, where's the, like,
there's not real much logic to it.
There's no thought put behind it at all.
This Matt there, Coppinger, has turned around and says, sure, there's places in Salvage not abiding by these lockdown rules.
You see, that's the other right. So,
and then we have Forever Fat, always injured.
That's Scott.
He's
Hey,
brought
Scott.
up the meat factory issue months ago. Government ignored it. So it was already a
yeah, what are you going to do? Like, you know,
same way they ignored the nursing home issues.
Yeah, of course. Because it's inconvenient for them to acknowledge them and to do something about it, right? Yeah. They'd rather just hope nothing happens, okay? Like, and what Matt was saying there about people not abiding by these restrictions, I think there's so much anger at how ill thought out that these new restrictions are that they're not going to have any impact because people are going to be like, do you know what? Like, I can't go 5 minutes down the road to Lucan. Fuck this. I'm going to go do whatever the hell I want. Yeah. Like, already today on Instagram, like, when I was putting up a story saying I'm going live with you in a few minutes or whatever, like, I saw photos of people that were on beaches in Dublin today. Like, people I know, like, people aren't going to take this lockdown seriously because it makes no sense. At least with the previous one, it made sense. There was reasoning behind it. But, like, I can't
more effort behind it as well.
Yeah, I can't go walk around Grafton Street, but someone can fly in from Tennessee, land in Dublin tomorrow, and can wander around. Like, I know they're supposed to isolate for 14 days, but that's not being enforced. So, you know, where's the thinking behind this?
It's a bit weird when we said, just before we went live, we were talking about anyone from Texas can come in and go in and out of these counties without. Well, they'll go on the road and then they'll stop off somewhere for a bite to eat, and then they'll make their way down to Kerry eventually. But they can come and go.
Yeah, but they are allowed to come and go, but I can't. I live on the border. Like, you know what I mean? It takes me significantly less time to be in Dublin than it does to be anywhere near where these meat processing factories are. But I'm allowed to drive to the meat processing factories. Like, that's the thing. I could drive to the town where these outbreaks are without any restrictions. Yeah. But I can't drive 5 minutes the other way down the road?
Yeah, it was a bit bizarre because even if you take a gym, nobody is going to go from Salvage down to South Newbridge area to go to a gym. A gym is within a 10 minutes, 15 minutes max because it's inconvenience of it. You're going to be in 2 hours in a gym, well, an hour and a half anyway. And you factor in a commute time of half an hour or 20 minutes each way. You're just not going to do it.
I forgot what I was going to say there. It's incredibly frustrating, man. Like, it's just so ill thought out. It just doesn't make sense. Like, there's no rhyme or reason to this. There's no logic behind it. It seems like a really lazy way to do a lockdown. That's what I was going to say. I think people would put a lot more faith in this lockdown if they said, okay, if you lived, or if your business is within a 10-kilometer radius of where these clusters are happening, sorry, it's unfortunate, but for 2 weeks you have to lock down.
Correct.
Instead of using, again, county lines that were drawn up however many hundreds of years ago and were not intended for this purpose to be like, okay, that's the line. Like, Enfield is 3 times closer to Timahoe than Selvidge is. But Enfield can stay open because it's in Meath.
And if you make good points about the retail, like most of the retail can stay open. The likes of a beautician or a hair
all
salon.
Retail can stay open, right?
But the close contact retail operations.
So, like, okay, barbers can stay open, right? I have no problem with barbers or hairdressers being allowed to stay open. I think everybody should be allowed to stay open at this stage. Barbers and hairdressers can reopen. My girlfriend was telling me yesterday, salons can stay open, right? So if someone goes in to get eyelash extensions, I don't know anything about this, is what I was told by her, they can take up to 2 hours, where a beautician is literally individually attaching a fake eyelash to each of your own eyelashes, right? It can take 2 hours for someone to do that. And that is 2 hours with someone touching your eyeballs. They can stay open. But my gym, where we can ensure social distancing, where all equipment is being cleaned down as often as possible, where there's so much ventilation because it's a warehouse and the entire front wall opens up. Like, you know, you can't say we don't have ventilation in there, like, is the argument against a lot of gyms. Or you can't say you can't maintain social distancing. We've been doing it for 6 weeks now. Like, gyms have been open for 6 weeks, right? All across the country. and there has not been one cluster associated with a gym. There has not been one cluster associated with a restaurant.
What's the fresh fades are more important than heavy squats? Well, there you go.
I have no problem with barbers staying open. Barbers should be allowed to open, but so should gyms. Who said that?
That was Forever Fat and Always Injured. And
Scott.
Again. I just want to sniff ammonia with the lads again. There you go. But it's well, your structure and your core base is quite solid in relation to clients, so your business is going to be okay.
Dude, I'm not worried about my business from this point of view, right? Like, we came out of a much, much longer lockdown, and if anything else, it showed me how good our community is, right?
And the gym itself.
And
the two lads.
And the two lads that won't stop commenting.
Yeah.
This is the thing. Like, I'm not worried.
Yeah.
Financially, I'm not worried that the gym is not going to survive this 2-week lockdown. It is. It's 2 weeks. Like, it's inconvenient at most, but I'm angry about it because it doesn't make sense. Yeah. Like, I was on board with the big lockdown because it made sense, right? We had a problem. There were lots of people dying, right? So we needed to do something to stop that happening, right? To protect the most vulnerable, as everybody keeps saying, to flatten the curve, right? The issue is now the curve has been flattened. No one's dying from this anymore, right? There's very, very few deaths. Okay, case numbers have gone back up. Okay, case numbers in very specific settings. Close down them very specific settings, right? Or put restrictions in place so that them very specific settings are way less likely to develop these clusters, right? Don't punish everybody because this tiny little place, this one tiny little fraction of society is unable to curtail this. Everybody else is doing a great job. Like, I've been into a lot of restaurants and stuff and hotels and stuff over the last 6 weeks, right?
I haven't.
Everywhere's been doing a hell of a job, man.
Have you found it very good?
Everywhere. Yeah. There's maybe one or two places where I was like, a little bit uncomfortable. We're a little bit close to other people, but like, come on. I mean, we got to go back to normal at some stage. Yeah. The other thing, like, we've got to learn how to live with this, right? Yeah. This is not going away anytime soon, right? It's just not. We were talking earlier, like, the only way this is going to go away is if there's a vaccine. And there's so much backlash against vaccines at the moment that, what's the uptake on that going to be like? So, until that happens, we've got to learn to live with this, right? So, panicking and shutting down everything, once there's a small rise in cases, long term, that's not going to help anybody. Like, we need to learn how to live with this. We need to learn how to live with this, the fact that this is in the community, that people are getting sick from this. But, like, we do that with everything all the time. Like, there is always a new strain of flu. I'm not saying this is a flu. I'm not saying this is not only as serious as a flu. That's not what I'm saying. But we learn how to live with shit. Okay? And we have to do that. We have to learn how to live with this.
It was only... You told me it was only earlier that I started that conversation. I says, sure, these meat packers are going back to work on Monday. And you corrected me and said it was only last minute where they said you're not reopening.
Yeah, it was this afternoon. Stephen Donnelly said they're not going back tomorrow. But their plans were to open up again tomorrow. That made me angry as hell. Now, okay, the government did the right thing there and stepped in and said, no, you're not. Which, 100%, that's the right call. But that's the first right call they've made since Friday.
Yeah. And there's no it still baffles me that there's still no governing body for the healthcare industry. It's all very individual, and it's all...
Do you mean health and fitness?
Health and fitness, yeah. Okay. Like, there should be something there to lobby, to have a one voice.
But this isn't the gym issue, right? Yeah, okay, gyms are included in this. But this is not a gym issue. This is a location issue, right? So what the hell were our TDs doing? Right? What were they doing? Like, seriously. Because, I mean, I knew from Thursday that there was supposed to be a localized lockdown going on. Surely the TDs did. So surely they could have been on Friday like, lads, this is absolutely ridiculous. Here's an alternative proposal. Will you look at this? And then, you've got Kildare, Laois and Offaly that haven't got anybody on the cabinet either. So they've got no one at these meetings with NEFIT saying, lads, we can't do this. Like, this is not okay. Because you can guarantee where the hell is Micheál Martin from? I don't know. If it was whatever county he's from. I don't know. If he was whatever county he's from, they wouldn't be going into lockdown.
No.
Man, they'd be like, we're going to close down this one specific little parish or town or however they wanted to ring fence it. You know what I mean? It wouldn't be county-wide. Like, could you imagine if Mizen Head in Cork had an outbreak and they were like, yeah, we're going to lock down all of Cork, bro.
Just wouldn't happen.
Well, firstly, Cork would like to be separate from the rest of the country anyway, so like let that happen, right? But like take Dublin for example. If Howth had a case, if Howth had a cluster, you're going to close down all of Dublin? Like it doesn't make sense. It just doesn't, and I'm angry that it's affecting businesses that it doesn't need to affect. This does not need to affect my business. It shouldn't. It shouldn't affect businesses across Leixlip, Selbridge, Maynooth, Clane. You know, there are towns that are geographically and socially closer to Dublin than they are to anywhere else.
Yeah. Have you spoke to other gyms in Kildare that might suffer hugely?
So I don't want to name names,
but you have no.
Well, I've have I in Kildare? No, I've spoken to other gym owners in Dublin,
and they're loving it.
Not that they're loving it, but they're relieved that they're not being locked down as well. Yeah, I mean, obviously they were. I mean, if someone told me yesterday that, you know, I don't know, Limerick has gone into lockdown, but your guys are staying to be open, I'd be relieved that I wasn't forced to close. So I can't blame them for that, but like,
do you think it's a matter of time before they do get closed down?
Man, I hope not. Like, I really do. Like, whatever about this localised lockdown being bad for people that live in Kildare, Laois and Offaly, right? Another nationwide lockdown would cripple people, man. Like, I don't, like, you got to understand NEFIT as well. Like, NEFIT only care about public health, right? Like, it's literally the only issue. NEFIT's job is not to care about the economy. NEFIT's job is not to care about job losses. NEFIT's job is, okay, how do we stop this disease, right? And in that case, like, yeah, okay, lockdowns are a good idea. But public health doesn't live in this isolated little bubble that isn't affected by economy. That, like, okay, one of the things that everyone talks about all the time is mental health issues that have developed during lockdown because people have been isolated and can't open their businesses, and, you know, people are suffering with depression and anxiety now from places reopening and stuff like that. And like, this is just driving that back further. So yes, okay, when we're talking about NEFIT, let's call it what it is. It's a coronavirus response team. All they care about is coronavirus. That's literally it. They don't care about anything else, right? All they care about is coronavirus. And I think it's a very, very short-sighted view of things. That, okay, there's 300 cases in Kildare in the last few days. Let's lock down Kildare. Well, if the 300 cases were spread out across all Kildare and it was just like normal people passing it back and forth to each other,
then yeah,
100% lock down Kildare. And I don't think anybody would argue with that.
No.
Like, that's a rational explanation to it. But this doesn't make sense because all the cases were in one place. Like, we know where the cases are. Just don't let them motherfuckers walk around.
So the future now is going to be outdoor
for the next 2 weeks.
Will you start leasing out your equipment again?
Probably not, because it's only 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
initially,
it's not, like I think the last time we did it was because, like, you know, we were 3-4 months lockdown. People, and that was a proper lockdown. Like, people couldn't leave their houses. At least now people can still go outside. And I'm not advocating that anybody does this, but I mean, if people live in Selbridge, Leixlip, Maynooth, there are gyms that are literally 2 minutes across the Dublin border.
Go,
you know what I mean? Like,
go and do it, yeah.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that there are gyms. There are gyms close enough that they could theoretically, if they wanted to break lockdown, they could do that. I won't be doing it, but you know, other places that other people could.
That's the best thing people can do. Your own clients can do now for these next 2 weeks, so they don't end up going backwards in progress.
It depends on what type of client they are. I mean, if we're talking powerlifters, right? If you don't have a barbell and plates, you can't really do anything. Well, not that you can't do anything, but you know, you're not going to progress. But you can do bodyweight exercises and all that sort of stuff. It might stop you losing muscle mass and shit like that. You're not going to get better in that time period, but you can slow down the rate of getting worse. For regular clients that are maybe just interested in looking better, feeling better, like, shift it up for 2 weeks. Okay, we do a lot of lifting weights in the gym. Go for a walk. Go for a jog. Take the dog. I was going to say down the beach, but there's no coastline in Kildare.
Couple of lakes.
Is there?
It's one Ballinafe Lake. 12 minutes from here.
12 minutes?
Yeah, it's lovely, yeah.
Is that going closer to the clusters now, isn't it?
No, it's maybe. What are you going to do?
Personally or business-wise?
Personally.
I'm going to enjoy having a 2-week break. No, I'm not. See, this is the thing. Everything that I was going to do during lockdown, I did during the last lockdown. Like, I painted everything. All equipment was resprayed. The floor was painted. Equipment was, you know,
there's nothing better that you can do now. Anyway.
No, like, but the good thing is now I have a blueprint for how to reopen the gym.
Yeah,
that's the only thing.
Quicker.
Yeah, exactly. We can hit the floor running at 100 miles an hour now, whereas the last time we were a little bit, how's this going to work? We know it works now. So, I mean, if nothing else, it's a little bit more confidence in it.
When did they say that they were going to have an update? It was just going to be on a daily thing where they might... Do you think that they could pull it back a week and say by the end of next Friday they might say...
No,
look,
they won't pull it forward a week because there's a 14-day incubation period for the virus.
Sure,
like, that's why it's 2 weeks.
Yeah,
right. That's why it's 2 weeks.
Yeah.
They won't pull it back a week. I would be surprised if it's only 2 weeks. And the Minister for Agriculture came out yesterday, I think, and said, I'm not saying this is only 2 weeks. We're just going into lockdown for 2 weeks. It might be extended. And, you know, whenever politicians say shit like that, you know, expect the worst case scenario. So, I'm hoping for 2 weeks. Could be 3. Could be 4. Don't know.
It's a bit bizarre that it is... You're talking about your gym closing because there's no cases.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Close your gym because Corona is not around in Salford.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You know, it's not in Clane or it's not in Leaksup or Maynooth, like, but you need to close down because it's not there.
Yeah. It's bizarre. Yeah. Like, we've had... I was trying to count the other day. In the 6 weeks, we've had, I think, close to 1,500... Between 1,500 and 2,000 visits to the gym. Now, not individual visits, like a lot of it would be the same people coming 3 or 4 times to the gym, right? And not one case. Not one case. No one has felt sick. Like, we have shown over the last 6 weeks that we can handle this, right? As have countless other small businesses around the country, right? And not just around the country, around Kildare, around Laois, around Offaly, and, like, you know, we can handle it. We can do the best that we can.
But is it possible? I don't think it is, but you're the gym expert. But is it possible to wear a mask and work out, or is it just beyond comfort?
No, it's very possible. You could easily do it.
Would that help?
Well, so last week, right? They were talking about. So this week they've said face masks are now legally mandatory in retail centres, right?
Tomorrow, yeah.
Yeah, tomorrow. On Tuesday or Wednesday last week, the way they worded it on the radio was all indoor commercial facilities and amenities face masks were going to be mandatory. So we were like, oh shit, that means the gym. So we were prepared for that. Like, that's not a big deal. Like, okay, it's uncomfortable, but, like, if that's what we have to do to avoid being closed down again, then it's what we have to do. You know, I'm not going to argue with that. So, like, the face mask debate is a non-debate for me. Just wear a fucking mask.
Two of the boys came back in and says, Chaos PT team move to my gaff and train from my garage, and they can't extend it. I've always been in 4 weeks, by Emily. So there you go. Like,
Emily's just annoyed because she was on holidays, so she didn't. She went to visit her grandparents, so I wouldn't let her back into the gym for 2 weeks after she came back into the country. And now we've gone back, and she was supposed to be able to come back to the gym tomorrow, and now we're closed down for another 2 weeks.
You're a man. You're a monster. And how your if you had to implement masks, would your core crew and clients no problems?
I said it to everybody last week. Everybody I was talking to.
Oh yeah.
And I said, look, I don't know yet. I'm waiting to hear back, but I think they might make face mask mandatory from next weekend. And everyone went, yeah, okay.
Just get it done.
Like, if it's a case of you have to wear a mask, then just put it on and deal with it. Like, it's not that bad. Like, really, it's not that bad. If you have to wear a mask, just wear a mask. Like, it's not a problem. It's like, it's not someone infringing on your civil liberties or whatever other nonsense you're reading online. It's just a mask. Like, if you're gonna have to wear it, just wear it. Like, what does it matter?
So beer and pizza for the next few weeks.
Man, I lost weight during the last lockdown. If this is how this one's starting, it's not going well.
And yeah, it's a bit strange. It's a bit strange that like in those 2 weeks now, like it's ever evolving. So by the next Wednesday coming, it'll be a different story altogether.
Could be, but like, okay, so
like they don't
yesterday.
Not
yesterday. Day before yesterday, there was 112 cases in Kildare, right? Then yesterday there was, I don't know, another huge amount of numbers, like 90 something I think it was. Today there was 17.
Did you get the app? Did you download it?
Yeah, the tracking app, yeah.
What was in? I didn't download it.
Yeah,
but what was in this area, or did they go by the locality now? How does that app actually work for you to
Have
look
you
at?
have you not got the app?
No.
I'm not going to stand around you anymore until you download it, bro.
Oh, is that how it is?
Yeah. I'm good. I have no symptoms. I was reading this earlier today. Tap for county breakdown. Okay, so in total cases now since the very start, Dublin have had 47% of cases. Kildare have had 7% of cases.
Dublin had 40.
Dublin have had 47% of all coronavirus cases in the country. Since the start, since the very beginning, right?
Yeah.
Kildare have 7%, Laois have 1%. Where's Offaly? 2%.
Cork and Galway would have been the next two.
Cork has 6%. Galway only has 2% as well. There's Dublin, Kildare,
so
Cork,
Dublin,
Kildare, Cork, and then Meath and Wicklow. But Dublin have had over 40% of all cases, right? And I know at the moment Dublin's not bad, which is why they haven't locked it down. Okay, and I understand that when Dublin did have the vast majority of cases, everybody was in lockdown anyway, so a localized lockdown didn't make sense. But I can guarantee you that if this outbreak happened in Dublin, they would not be locking down Dublin. They just wouldn't be. It just, they'd have found a different way to do it, which is the point, right? They would have figured out a different way to do it. If they could do that for Dublin, which they would have. Like, let's be real. There's not a hope in hell they would have locked down all of Dublin for a cluster. I mean, Jesus, there was clusters in building sites.
And nursing homes.
And nursing homes. Even after lockdown, 3 or 4 weeks ago, there was clusters in building sites where there was 30, 40 cases coming out of them.
Yeah.
They didn't lock down all of Dublin. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, if they're not doing that for Dublin, why are they doing it for these counties? And I'll tell you why. It's because these counties, they need to stop calling Kildare Midlands County, by the way, right? But that's what they're seeing it as. They're a Midlands County. They're a nothing county, really. You know what I mean? They're not looking at it as a huge economic powerhouse, apart from the likes of Intel and Hewlett Packard. But, I mean, they were never closed down anyway, so they wouldn't do that again now. Doesn't make sense, dude. And it just reeks of... our mates in meatpacking plants have loads of money, so they can open again as soon as everything's okay.
Yeah.
But everyone else has to suffer.
I can't see many businesses deciding to reopen. They just walk away from it.
I don't know, man. See, you gotta think, this isn't all businesses either. This is restaurants and cafes, pubs that serve food, because other pubs haven't been allowed to open yet, which is another bone of contention.
Go on.
Right.
Go on.
If pubs are able to put the same restrictions in place as restaurants, why not let them reopen?
Yeah.
Right. And their argument has been, everywhere pubs have reopened, there has been a rise in cases. Drinking alcohol in pubs leads to a rise in cases. Well, everywhere that meatpacking plants are open, there's a rise in cases. You haven't shut them down either. You know what I mean? And what's the difference? Well, okay, I understand there's the food chain and, production of food slows down. A lot of things take a hit. But, I don't understand why, if a pub that serves food can put these restrictions in place and they're allowed to open, if a pub can't serve food and can put the exact same restrictions in place, I'm talking the same table service only, dividers between tables, 105-minute limit, all that sort of stuff. If they can do the same shit as pubs that serve food, why not let them open? Give them a chance. I mean, how many small pubs in the country are going to absolutely be crippled? Never open up again. There's a load of them that will never open up again.
Yeah. A lot of that, they would have hedged most of their bet or money for the summer to expecting to buy a drink, and next thing I gotta shift this booze. I have to shift it somewhere. And then that just forces people to flout the law and say, I'm just not, I have to do something. Because you hear in the rural parts of Ireland now where the pubs is that they pull up a chip van right outside the premises and saying, here, if you want to go out and go get a burger and chips and come back in, because they only have the liquor license, but they can't afford the food license, so they're just going to try and work it that way. And you know what the worst thing is? I've heard stories that the guards are saying, that's okay. But the health and safety are saying that's not okay.
You see, the point is, no pubs are supposed to be open. It's only restaurants are allowed to open, right? So it just so happens that a lot of pubs.
No, but my point is, these people are desperate.
Yeah, 100%.
They're desperate. Yeah. So
of course,
no choice.
They'll do whatever they can. Of course, and
I can't blame them for that.
We're just driving things worse and worse and worse for these people. For the longest time, pubs have been literally the backbone of Irish economy, right? You ask tourists what they're going to do when they come into Dublin. Oh, they're going to have a pint of Guinness. They're going to go to a pub. They're going to, it's such a big part of our culture. It doesn't make sense for them to be closed down. It just doesn't.
I feel sorry for them. I feel...
Man, my heart's breaking for them. I was listening to a guy on the radio last week that was talking about how he'd had his pub for 30 years and, like, you know, they always made a very slight profit or just about broke even. And he's like, it's all gone now. You know, he doubts if he's going to be able to reopen. I don't know.
When it first broke really badly, there was, over in America, I think a couple of landlords with premises over here were very... They were okay, like they were actually very understanding. Like you said, the commercial landlords were understanding for you, but over in the States, they had Irish people on the radio and they were saying, look, we don't know if we can open again or close. And then the landlord's like, let me explain how this works. You know, you pay me, I pay the bank, and that's it. So
America's different, man.
But my point is now is that you're back another 2 weeks and you're okay. But I can't imagine other companies would balance their books as well if you're in the more rural parts of Ireland.
No, and like when you were talking there about landlords, right? During big lockdown, my landlord was pretty sound. He gave me significant discount on my rent for the duration of the however long I wasn't allowed to be in. I think he gave me 3 months rent at half price, right? If we have to go back into lockdown, like no matter how sound he is, I can't see him doing that. And he would be completely within his rights to not do that.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's his property. He can do what he wants with it. If he has to pay the mortgage in it and my rent covers that mortgage, fair enough.
Yeah.
You know, it's...
Like, he's no bottom pit.
No.
To say, keep going. You know,
no, you know what I mean? Like, you're putting businesses in a position where they're relying on charity.
Yeah.
And that's
or
not
each
okay,
other
man.
Or each other to work it out.
Yeah, and that's not okay. Like, if we get down to the absolute core of it, the point of a business is to make money. Right, that's it. The business is there to produce money for its owners, its employees, and its shareholders. Right, if we're going to be real free market capitalist about it, that's the entire point of a business. Right, you're taking away that opportunity for people now through no fault of their own. Right, and if you say, like, if you give, okay, you can open, but you have to have these restrictions in place. At least you're giving people a chance. It might be like they might not be able to take that chance. It might not be enough. But at least you're giving people a fighting chance. And how much better would people feel if they had an opportunity to fight for the business that they've had for 30 years?
Yeah.
As opposed to, there is nothing I can do. People
Or
feel helpless.
They got to go join the unemployment line. They probably feel like shit already. And then they have to try and find the job to work for someone else. And it's like, there's nothing there anyway.
Yeah.
You know? Like, there was one salon I know down here in Clane that as soon as they opened up first, the landlord says, you owe me 3 months rent, and that's it.
Jesus.
And it just got it just got to the stage where I was like, I don't have it, so but I'm open for business, so what do you want me to do? And then you one said, oh, out of the kindness of my heart, I'll you can add on more rent per week. At the kindness of my heart. Yeah, but like you're not in a situation where you have a choice.
But that's not the landlord's fault either.
No, I know that.
You know what I mean? Like, if the landlord still has a mortgage to pay, right? They've been paying that out of their own pocket for the last 3 months if they hadn't paid rent. I'm not siding on the side of landlords here either, but I'm saying, like, if you're going to take away people's opportunity to pay for themselves, then you have to step in and do it for them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, if the government are going to put us back into lockdown, firstly, right, the government have done so much for businesses at this stage, right? Between the pandemic unemployment pay, the wage subsidies, the restart grants, all that sort of stuff. They've done a lot, right? That we're going to be paying off for years to come off of this, right? I don't know how much more they can do, but if they can't do any more, then they need to let people have the opportunity to do shit themselves. Because you can't, like, if you cannot tell people you're not allowed to open your business, and then at the same time say, oh, but we're not going to help you out either.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we're coming to an end. Like, the government does not have an endless amount of money. Firstly, all the government's money is our money, really, right? Like, people seem to forget that every penny the government has comes from the Irish people. The government that's not an endless, bottomless pit where they can just start printing more money. Like, that's not how economics works. So, like, that's going to come to an end. They cannot keep paying out this stuff all the time, and they know that. So instead of driving the economy further and further into the rubble and making more and more people unemployed and making sure that people that do have jobs are going to have to pay higher levels of taxes for years to come, let the people have an opportunity. You know what I mean? Like, if we're talking local lockdowns, let's make them properly local. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, Timahoe, like, first of all, until this week, had you ever heard of Timahoe?
No, I didn't know.
I didn't even know it was a place, man. That's how far away this place is from us. I didn't even know it existed. Right? So, like, Timahoe has an outbreak.
Fuck you, Timahoe.
Close down Timahoe. You know what I mean? Like, so, like, if none of it makes sense. None of it makes sense at all. Okay? And it just reeks of lazy decision making and lazy policy. It's not a well thought out. Jeez, that beer's making me burp. It's not a well thought out plan.
That Corona, is it? Is that Corona?
It's not a well thought out plan. It's not it's literally something that they in 2 minutes were like, oh, there's an outbreak in Kildare.
Yeah.
Let's close Kildare down. That'd be like, okay, take any town, take Leixlip for example, right? Oh, do you hear Mary down the road has a flu? Let's close all the houses in Leixlip instead of being like, maybe just keep Mary inside for a week or so there, you know? I have a load of them metaphors, by the way. Like, if a dog has rabies, you shoot the dog with rabies. You don't say every dog in the country has to stay inside for 2 weeks and then we'll let the dog with rabies open back up again. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And yeah, it's a bit bizarre. It's a bit bizarre.
Like it.
Do you feel better now?
Do I feel better? No, I've been having this same rant to people for like 4 days now. This doesn't make me feel better at all. I'm angry. Like nothing seems to be helping it. It's just frustrating. And like I'm me and my business. We're in a good position. We will get through this without doubt. We're going to get through this, right? But there's other businesses that aren't going to be as fortunate or in as good a position that aren't going to be able to get through this. Like how many businesses just scraped through the actual lockdown to be like, right, now we have a chance, and to then 6 weeks later be told, nah, you got to close again. Like, it's heartbreaking. And it's like, I'm sick of hearing government officials saying, oh, you know, our deepest sympathies, we're all in this together. This is one example where we're not fucking all in it together. Like, we're not.
Yeah.
You've told people they can't cross county lines. Like, do you know where county lines are?
No.
Apart from the brown signs on the side of the motorway saying you are now entering wherever.
Yeah.
Like, do you know? Would you know where a county line is? Like,
no. It's too close. Leixlip Lucan, they're too close. It's a Toyota garage or something that splits the difference.
Yeah, but like someone in Lucan now can go to Greece for 2 weeks and not have to self-isolate when they come back. But if you're at Leixlip, you can't even go to Lucan.
Yeah.
Unless it's for work purposes.
What do you think the future holds then for the likes of an economy where no house prices haven't fallen down yet, so people will just more or less, they'll move west?
House prices haven't fallen because they introduced that Help to Buy scheme, and instantly all the property owner, everyone that was selling a house went, right, if everyone's getting an extra 10 grand, we're just going to raise our prices by 10 grand.
Yeah. It's a bit...
That's not the only reason house prices haven't fallen, but I just thought that was an ironic one, and I'm in a mood of complaining, so let's go for it, bro. No, this localised lockdown as well, it also sets a precedent now. Yeah. So now anytime anything happens, it'll be, let's just lock it down.
We can control it now.
It's a knee-jerk reaction.
We can control people.
It's a knee-jerk reaction. Let's just close this down. And the other side is like, because this lockdown makes no sense at all, people aren't going to listen to it.
Yeah. One of the lads there joined in there, Dylan from New Zealand, and they did it right.
Hey, Dylan. Yeah, you guys did it right.
Yeah, they did it right completely.
But I mean, what they went into a harsh lockdown for 4 weeks, stopped all flights in and out of the country, and now they're fine.
Yeah. And then anyone did come in, they make them pay to isolate.
Yeah,
and put them in the hotel.
100%.
We just don't have that.
No, all we're doing is like, do you promise us you won't go out anywhere for 2 weeks? And everyone's like, yeah, sure. I'm only here for 10 days.
Yeah. Yeah,
fill in that form there. Yeah, that piece of paper.
I mean, you'll tell the truth now, won't you?
Yeah. You wouldn't lie to us, would you? Nah, go on. You're a good lad. You're a good lad. Fair play. Go enjoy your holiday.
It's absolutely bizarre.
I was down in Kerry 2 weeks ago, man.
Did you go down?
Yeah.
What was it like? Open,
packed.
Was it?
Yeah.
And no cases.
People everywhere. No. And the amount of American accents everywhere.
Oh, the fat asses.
Yeah. From Tennessee, bro.
Could you tell? Were they say they were from Texas and stuff?
No, I just heard American accents. I didn't stop and have a conversation with them. You know.
Yeah.
It's just, look, it is what it is. But like, if you're going to tell someone from Leixlip they can't travel to Lucan, you know, maybe tell people from America they can't come into the country. Yeah. I mean, have a little bit of a backbone. But and that's the thing, is like this lockdown now just reeks of we've got no fucking spine at all.
Never say fair play ever again.
Was that Matt?
That was Carpenter.
Yeah. Matt hates that. Fair play, Matt. Fair play.
Well, that's it. I think there was a political move there by the Yanks to pressure on the Yanks to Ireland. Says you can't stop us coming in.
Yeah. I don't know why we haven't stood up for it.
Well, because you got the American farmer plants here.
Yeah, but like,
and it's a lot of jobs that
surely in like extreme measures, it should be like, yeah, do you know what? Maybe we'll look after our own people before we worry about pissing off.
I can't see the Yanks doing that, considering that they're superpower anyway.
The Yanks were the first people to close their borders. Do you not remember?
Coming in, yeah.
We're not letting anybody from China across our borders.
Kung Flu.
That was quite good. Carrying the China virus.
I thought Kung Flu was quite good.
Kung Flu.
I don't know who advised him on that one, but I think you need to whisper this in. Get this in on your speech. I thought that was quite funny. You know,
if you look at the statistics, we're at the bottom of the page, which actually means we're at the top.
And has there been any latest in China's?
I stopped listening to the news until Thursday last week when they were like, "Did you hear you're going back into lockdown?" And I was like, "Would you fuck off?" Yeah. So then I started reading the news again, and it just made me angry. Like I try to spend as little time on social media as possible. I tried to block out the news as much as possible. It was all too much, man. Like during lockdown, I remember going into the sitting room. My dad was there one day, and he watched he watched the New York press conference at 11, right? And as soon as that finished, he put on Prime Minister in the so we watched the New York press conference at 11, which was Cuomo talking about how many thousands of people had died. Then he would put on the UK press conference at 12, and then he would put on the Irish press conference. And I was like, how do you have the mental bandwidth to take all this in? Like, this is too much. It's like, Jesus, man, just take a break from it. I couldn't do it anymore. So like, I tried to spend as little time as possible on social media. Like if I have to post something for work, I post, but I'm not scrolling through it. Like, it's just too much, man. It's just too much. I couldn't keep up with it anymore. It was just getting to the point where, also during lockdown, because you had nothing else to do, like everyone was just scrolling through social media all the time. There's just doom and gloom all the time. Like, it's just...
Well, we have to come to a stage where we have to make a call.
About?
What?
About what?
Are we going to put up with it, live with it, and reopen businesses?
Oh, COVID?
Or are we just going to...
Yeah.
Have to go. You go left or you go right.
I thought we had. Like, I thought we had, like, you know what, we've got this mostly contained. As long as everyone sticks to these restrictions, we'll be alright. And then fucking 3 meat factories decide they're going to have shitty work conditions for their employees. And now the entire fucking counties are locked down again. I feel real bad for Laois. Like, real bad for Laois, right? Yesterday, Kildare had over 100 cases. Offaly had like 80 something. And Laois had 1. Laois had 1 case, dude, and they're locked down.
Alright, okay, so we said from Bert says, don't mind Matt, fair play, Big Daddy. And then Danielle has come in and says, Drummer, tell Ben that there was only 19 cases in Kildare today. And
Danny, if you had been watching the entire podcast, you'd have heard me say that earlier.
Begin again.
Yeah, Danny, if you had been watching from the beginning, there was 19 in Kildare earlier, there was 17 in Dublin, 12 in Offaly, and I think there was a few in Laois, but like...
How many did you say in Laois was? 1, 2, 3?
No, that was yesterday, there was only 1 in Laois.
Who's that fucker?
I know, yeah. I don't know, like... Yeah, so, I mean, what that shows us today, only 19 cases in Kildare, right, is that, again, outside of that one cluster, like everyone's saying it's 3 clusters, it's not, it's 1 cluster because it's people working and then going back to where they live. It's 1 cluster. Outside of that 1 cluster, there's nothing around. Like, coming up to, from last Monday to last Friday, there was 19 cases of community transmission in the entire country for 5 days.
And for 4.6 million people, that's quite low.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you kidding me? Like, if we're trying to figure out how much of a percentage of the population that is, what is it, like 0.000?
No, it actually works out that like 40 for every 1 corona case, it's 46,972 or something. I worked it out. I was like, divide that by that, and it's like, that's your odds. You know.
So you've got like a 1 in 50,000 chance of actually catching coronavirus.
But if you played a lotto, you might pull in some
you're as
winners.
likely to win on the lotto as you are to catch coronavirus.
Some
Look, I'm
winners,
not one of these people that's like, it's not as serious as they said it was at the start. Well, it's not as serious as they said it was at the start. But I'm not one of these that's like, oh, everyone's going to be fine. It's 99.7% recovery rate or whatever. Like, any deaths is too many deaths, right? Like, and I understand the argument is, okay, there's a lot more cases now. It's in younger people, which is great because younger people aren't dying from it at the same rate that elderly people were, right?
Yeah.
So I don't want to be one of these people that's like, oh, it's not as serious as everyone says it was. Like, it might not be. It might be. But why don't we just do everything that we possibly can? Short of shutting everywhere down because it was a fucking arbitrary county line. How many times have I said that tonight? If you're watching, take a shot every time I say arbitrary county line.
County line.
County, yeah.
GA pitch. GA clubs for borders.
But that's the thing, like all sports clubs have been closed down.
Yeah, I know. We're supposed to go back training next week.
Like, all sports clubs have closed down in the county, right? Like,
some are just playing touch though. Some are still open, but they're just doing touch. Yeah.
No, but it doesn't matter. You could be playing golf. Where, I mean, how close are you to a person when you're playing golf? Not very. And you're outdoors, right? But that's being closed down now. I think.
Did you know anyone that had it?
Yeah, so do you.
Who?
Our fucking tall ginger mate.
Did he?
Yeah, he went over to Cheltenham. The gobshite.
Oh, did he? Good man.
Yeah, of course he did.
And what was his reaction to it?
Oh, he said it sucked. He was like, he had a flu for a week or so, and it was fine.
Oh, right, okay. So he.
But his missus lived with him, slept in the same bed with him, and she didn't get it.
She never got it.
No. Makes it wonder, doesn't it?
Well, that's it. It's individual.
Yeah.
It affects. It's an
when
case
80% of people are asymptomatic. That's the other thing. I'd like to know how many people that got tested in these plants actually had no symptoms.
Wasn't that 49 in one plant or something like that?
But there were so many extra numbers have come out now since that first day. Yeah, that's what I heard. There was like 70% positive. Yeah, go on.
But that went back to when Keelings. Remember at the start of March?
Oh yeah, well, they let everybody in to pick fruit.
Yeah.
I have some controversial opinions about that.
Well, go on.
Are we here to cause controversy?
Well, go on.
Okay.
Well,
right.
We're only talking.
Yeah, we're only talking.
We don't fact check here.
We're only talking. 90% of people that came in had coronavirus.
We're not fact checking this shit.
I don't know, man. Look it up.
Look into it, yeah.
Okay, so the Keelings thing, right? People were going mad. Firstly, right? No, they shouldn't have been allowed to fly people into the country to pick the fruit, right? They had them jobs advertised for, I think it was like 4 weeks in Ireland, and nobody applied to do them, right? So. Yeah,
no, but there was controversy about that too because it said that no one could find where it was advertised.
It was on jobs.ie.
Was it though?
Well, I've seen screenshots of it, unless that was fake. Well, who knows?
Right.
Could have been.
Because I did see something like the only thing I heard, and again we don't fact check, but the only thing I heard was it was on. It was like a small article.
5G causes coronavirus, bro.
Yeah, 5G. Yeah, but it was a newspaper had said it was a small section in a newspaper, and that's all the ad that they ran because it was cheaper to just get
to bring in the Bulgarians
do it that way than it would.
I mean,
any other.
Okay. Did any cases arrive out of that?
No, I don't know. Well, they weren't tested.
Fuck it.
They sure weren't tested.
The ends justifies the means, right?
Yeah.
Like if no one got sick out of it, it doesn't really matter. I know, like it was shit because everybody else wasn't allowed to travel at the time. But like, I don't know. Do you know what they could have done? The government could have been like, okay, if you want to keep your COVID pay, go fucking pick fruit and Keelings.
Yeah, but they fucked it up because they should have just put down anyone who was working 1 day a week should have been on a lower.
Yeah, no, I'm not. Yeah, obviously, right? Because I literally was having a conversation with someone on Friday, who said he's earning 3 times as much on COVID pay as he was when he worked 1 day a week in a pub before this. Like,
really?
Yeah, like, okay, that's a complete other issue, right? That of course, yeah, that was emergency legislation that was drafted and rushed through, right? Very much like the county lines was. You know, it was like, oh, we need to do something. Yeah, let's do this. It seems great on paper until you actually think about it for 4 seconds.
there was.
It's like, have these people never been in Kildare? Like, they don't realise how big of a county we are.
There's a big, huge stud farm,
Yeah.
essentially.
Like, do they not realise like how far away Timahoe is from fucking anywhere that's real?
Well, it's 40 minutes. No, maybe a little less. It's 20 minutes.
Well, how long would it take you to get onto the N7 from here? 15 minutes?
No, I say a good 35.
To get to the N7?
To the
Would you
N7?
stop if you go through Salins?
Yeah. Salons.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Then you go right. Then you go down by Irish commercials.
Okay, so
Then
let's say it takes you half an hour to get to the N7.
Drop the attitude, right?
Sorry.
Right.
Let's say it takes, and then
Takes
on
half an hour.
on the N7,
Yeah.
it's about 15 minutes to Timahoe. So
Oh,
you're
what is
talking
it?
you're talking from here. It would take
Yeah.
you 50 minutes to an hour to get to this place
To get to
that
this
doesn't
place,
actually
yeah,
exist.
Yeah, it would. No, it would. It would.
This fictional meat factory.
Yeah. Where is
It's like
Timahoe?
Lord of the Rings, man.
Someone send me a location.
I've never been this far away from home before, Frodo.
And is that the nearest factory to us?
No, there was a dog food factory in Newbridge.
Oh shit! Wasn't
Nace,
that Dawn Farm
Nace.
Foods or something like that?
I can't remember. I think the factory was in Nace
Oh,
and the
maybe-
direct provision
maybe I
centre was
shouldn't be
in.
Dawn Farms. I don't know that.
Yeah,
Was
you
it not-
need to do a disclaimer there.
Yeah.
I
Was
don't
there
know.
not? There was Newbridge Foods. or
Yeah,
something like
there
that.
was. Hang on, I was actually reading this earlier. It should be in the history.
Does anyone know?
Anyone there? No.
No. We actually have the most amount of audience we've ever had, which is 5.
How many people do we have?
5.
Hey guys.
You know, so but it's I thought Newbridge had something, but even still, Newbridge is still
Newbridge had the
Newbridge is still more than half an hour away from
the
me.
direct provision centre. That was in Newbridge.
That was the one.
That's where they were all housed. But let's not get into direct provision because that'll be a.
So they were going. Oh, so they were going.
The workers
on a
in
bus,
the factory were then
bus
living.
to there and back.
Yeah, we're living in the direct provision because apparently, if you've been in direct provision for more than 9 months and your refugee status still hasn't been sorted out, you're allowed to work. So I think that's what was happening. They were living in direct provision and then working in the meat factories. So then when they caught it in the meat factories, they went back to direct provision where people are sleeping on top of each other.
Yeah, so go back to the direct provision for a second. Where the setup was a setup.
I know very, very little about this, and I don't want to say something because I know a lot of people feel very strongly about direct provision, and I don't know a whole lot about it.
No, I'm just wondering in the fact that were their facilities COVID proof, and
I don't see how they could be.
Yeah.
I mean, they're talking about dormitory style accommodation.
right.
I mean, you lived in hostels enough to know what dormitory style accommodation is. I mean, could you imagine?
It's too close.
Yeah, I don't know enough about direct provision to say one way or the other.
Right.
I just know that they're not particularly great living conditions, and that this caused a cluster of it because they have shared bathrooms and stuff like that. So I'd imagine everybody's kind of on top of each other. That's just the impression I've got from the little bit that I've read.
How many gyms in Selvage are affected by it?
Oh, fucking all of them.
Yeah.
I think there's 7 gyms in Zelwich.
7.
I think so. I don't know. Me. Yeah, let's say 7. Maybe 8. I don't know. About that many.
And throughout those 7,
I very much doubt all of them will abide by these lockdown rules, considering I know 1 or 2 that didn't the first time. Well, definitely one.
oh yeah,
Oh, yeah. I'm not naming names.
tell me about that.
No.
They didn't abide.
No.
Yeah.
I remember driving past it, at the very start of lockdown, 2 kilometer lockdown, and there being 7 or 8 people in this one certain facility.
Where?
I'm not saying.
What road?
I'm not saying.
What were they near?
I'm not saying.
Oh shit, we're gone.
We're gone.
Oh, that's over. Must be in the yard. That's cool. I feed. Oh shit! Don't fucking share it down to Instagram. Bollocks. Hang on. Next. And
Do you want to just use my phone for the second half?
live feed. Oh fuck. Yeah. I just post it. Hang on 1 second. Getting shit, and we're back. Amongst it with Coach.
Jesus Christ. How much fucking food did you order, man?
Yeah, no, I stopped eating when Dan told me to stop.
Fucking chicken goujons. You stopped eating when who told you to stop?
Dan Lynch. We're going live back on again. You are now live. Whoops. Turns out we've been chatting for an hour.
Well, welcome back, guys. We've moved from pizza onto chicken goujons now.
No, there's no one around. There's no one around. We've lost our audience. They've all logged off. And we're back. We're back. Hello, Rosie. Rossi? No. Rossi, not Rosie. Shit.
Ross.
he's gonna unjoin now. So 2 weeks time, the gym's on shutdown.
Yeah.
You're not gonna flout the law.
I'm not gonna what?
You're not gonna flout the law.
No.
But you are gonna do.
I'll tell you why I
outdoor
won't.
classes. Classes.
I'll tell you why I won't flout it.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't really know. I suppose like you've heard of places being fined and stuff, and like I don't want to have to deal with a fine. Like it's 2 weeks. This isn't going to kill me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If original lockdown had gone on longer, would I have been like, fuck this, I'm reopening? Maybe. Yeah, I probably would have. But no, 2 weeks is 2 weeks. I'm not gonna risk getting fined for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You know.
Right.
But which is like it's shit. Don't get me wrong, right? It's shit for me. Yeah. It's shit for my employees. It's shit for clients. It's shit for everybody. Like no one is benefiting from this. No one. I don't know. None of us are. No one's making money out of this. Like I think during lockdown when I did the outdoor classes, like the outdoor classes just about covered rent.
Really?
Yeah, but like
yeah. But how could you charge?
I mean that's better than
nothing.
Rent coming out of a bank account that was already being seriously depleted.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
How much have you spent on stock for sanitation? Just out of curiosity, like.
Okay, so I remember I went into Musgraves the week before.
Bit louder.
Okay, I went into Musgraves. The week before we opened back up, right? And I bought 5 alcohol dispensers.
Okay.
A crap load of that blue roll, crap load of alcohol, crap load of wipes, crap load of bleach bottles, crap load of bleach, like everything. And it was, that one trip was like 450 quid.
Really?
Yeah, man.
And that didn't last?
No, God, no. And I'd say...
Well, no, like, I'm not...
Okay, so I'm going to say in total, probably just over, let's say 1,500.
Can I ask you a question?
That's the point, that's why we're here.
True. Why didn't you raise your prices?
I did.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
By much?
A little bit.
Because you had to.
Yeah.
But that was understandable.
We have to cover all this extra shit now, man. You know what I mean? Like, we're allowed to have less people in classes than we were before.
Yeah.
Like, our operational costs.
I thought you didn't raise your prices.
Yeah, no, I did. I didn't initially.
I do a lot of research.
But then I didn't initially, but then after about a month of reopening, I did.
Yeah.
Like, we've got to have less people in classes now than we ever have before, right? So, the amount of space we have for classes, we can have 9 people at a time. Whereas before, there would have been classes with 13, 14 people in it, right? So, to get around the fact that I can't have as many people in classes, I've had to put on more classes, which then raises wages. You know what I mean? So I have to pay staff more then to train classes that otherwise could have just been absorbed in the classes that were there. There's the cost of all the cleaning supplies.
How often are you renewing? How often were you renewing the sanitation equipment? 2 days.
I went to Tesco. My Tesco for 50 packs of antibacterial wipes. Them 50 packs lasted. So there's 40 wipes in each pack. I bought 50 packs of them, and it lasted 6 days. Now they're cheap.
You probably look like a guy who took COVID too seriously.
Oh, sure, man. I went in a Tesco on Friday, right? And stocked up my trolley with my antibacterial wipes, which I normally... So they come in 8 packs. So there's 8 packs in a box, right? And previously to that, I'd been buying 6 boxes at a time. I was at the till with my 48 packets of wipes. And the manager came up to me and goes, you know, there's a quota on how many of them you can buy. And I went, what? I've bought this like 4 or 5 times now, and no one said it to me. She goes, yeah, there's a quota on them. I said, what's the quota? And she went, let's say 3 boxes. And I went, what do you mean, let's say 3 boxes? That doesn't sound like there's an actual quota. It sounds like you just made that up.
What difference does it make? I'm buying it.
Yeah, exactly. So I said to her, I was like, So if I buy 3 of these boxes now, take them out to my car, come back in again, can I buy the other 3 boxes then? She went, no. I was like, fuck this. So at the lady, I put 3 boxes back anyway. Went up to the till and I was like, handing the lady behind the counter. I was like, is there a quote on how many of these I can buy? She went, no, not that I know of. I was like, that Karen in that fucking pantsuit just fucking screwed me out of that, bro.
Karen on the loose.
Yeah.
Hang on, we got something here from Copper again. Hey, I ain't complaining about wage increase. There you go.
I didn't say there's a wage increase. You're not getting paid more. No, for to put on extra classes because we couldn't have as many people in that one class means I've had to put on extra classes, which means then you have to pay staff extra to do the extra classes. Does that make sense? So like say for example on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday now we're doing 7 classes instead of previously where we did 5.
Yeah.
So
were you on a did you alter your gym times?
No. We're still on the same opening hours.
Would you go longer to allow people to come in?
Tell me when.
I'm only wondering. I'm only wondering.
Monday to Friday we're open 6 a.m. until 9 p.m.
How did FlyFit get away with a 24/7 gym and you guys can't?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Our insurance policy means there has to be a member of staff on the gym floor at all times.
Yeah. Say one of the lads wouldn't mind living in the gym.
Well, they practically do anyway.
Yeah.
I know Scott's got his home gym now. He wouldn't.
No, but I'm just wondering, like, how are they able to do that?
I'd imagine they just pay extra on her insurance.
Yeah. Would you go down that road, knowing
God,
that you could get more traffic in?
God, no,
no,
never.
Why?
Because I would worry about it even if I wasn't there.
Would you?
Dude, the only reason I close on Sundays now is so that I don't have to work a Sunday and I also don't have to think about it at the same time. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like if the gym was open, if the gym's open and I'm not there, like I have a really hard time switching off. Like I don't. I'm not someone that's like when I'm not in the gym I leave it behind me. Like that's not happening. It's constantly up here. You know what I mean? Like so. No, we tried opening Sundays for a while.
What's your biggest? What would be the most on your mind without the gym? The running of it, the future of it.
Currently,
yeah.
Right now, it's oh my god, is anybody going to catch COVID from my gym? Like that's what's on my head constantly.
That's a constant.
Literally, it's like from the moment the alarm goes up at 5:30 until the minute I go to sleep at night. It's am I doing everything that I possibly can to make sure that Speaking of Corona,
it's a bit of COVID there.
Yeah. What did Matt say there? He said something else.
Drummer, he worries when he leaves me and Scott in charge. Well, there you go.
It's not because I don't. Shut up, Matt. No, but things okay. Like put it this way, right? What the hell is that?
That's a gay ringtone.
That's a really gay ringtone.
But anyway, no, go on, go back.
So
I'd like to know why, that constant is on your head.
Dude, ask any small business owner.
Yeah.
Ask any small business owner when they're not at their place of business. Are they thinking about their business or are they worried about it? It's not worry. Like I don't think the place is going to burn down when I'm not there. It's not like I don't trust my staff. That's not it at all. It's just. Can I tell a really funny story? It's actually really embarrassing.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Not embarrassing for me. I wouldn't tell them stories. So the very first week, Scott's been working with us for about a year and nearly a year and a half now, I suppose.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And when him and Matt took their first shift together, when I wasn't in the gym, right? So I usually take a Thursday evening off. I finish at 6:30. I'm like, right, I'll let you two lads lock up and everything, and I'll be back tomorrow morning. My very first Thursday night that I took off, I'd been gone for about 45 minutes, right? And I was getting phone calls. I was like, I'm not answering that. It's the first night I've taken off in so long. I'm not answering that, right? And it kept coming, so I was like, oh fuck, I better answer that, right? So I answered the phone call. Scott had fallen down the fucking stairs.
Scott?
Yeah.
He fell down the stairs. Oh, yeah.
No, so look, it's like
good.
take Thursday night. Thursday just gone, for example, right?
Yeah.
When I was about to leave, Scott had a class upstairs. There was 8 people in that class, right? And the classes at the moment, because of the way they're run, they're kind of hard classes to do on your own because you have to look. You're watching so many different things because people can't share equipment, so you can't have 3 people working in that one rack, right?
Yeah.
So you have to watch so many different things.
Fucking stairs.
So Scott was upstairs with a full class, which is hard when you're on your own as a coach at the moment, right? Then Matt was downstairs with a PT client, and there was maybe 10 or 12 people in the gym as well. And as I was leaving, I was like, Jesus Christ, there's a lot of people here. Like, am I better off being here than I am going? You know what I mean? Like, it's just, there's constantly that worry that if something happens, I need to be there. Because ultimately, if anything happens, it's on me, regardless of whether I was there or not. Does that make sense? Like, it's the ultimate the buck stops with me situation. Like,
one of the guys, Kieran Moore, says he's joined the episode. So guys, make sure you check out him. Then we got fucking me ankle, and then make sure
sorry, Scott, I had to tell that story, dude.
make sure to check out Kieran Moore music. Anyway, he's another fella I did the podcast with, fantastic musician. So what else?
Actually, I meant to say this earlier. Am I the first repeat guest?
You were.
Oh my god, that's awesome.
How does that feel?
I'm honoured and privileged.
I can't get anyone else.
Fuck you.
I can't get anyone else. Now I have a few people lined up now, so hopefully that goes well. So what else goes on your mind? So you've never been able to switch off since taking over the business.
Like, look, it's just
are there days where
it's not. I'm not saying like I'm sitting.
Do you care?
I'm not saying I'm sitting there pulling my hair out. Like, it's just like. Oh, this is gonna sound weird. You know when a parent has a baby, right? And the first time they leave that baby with a babysitter, they get separation anxiety. It's like, oh my god, I'm not there. What if something happens? Like, it's that. It's not fear. It's not like I don't think the lads can handle the gym without me. Like, I know they can. Like, they're both fucking excellent at their job. So it's not that. It's that. If something, like, I don't even know what would happen, man. Like if a client fell down the stairs, if it wasn't Scott, if it was a client that fell down the stairs and snapped their ankle, and I wasn't there when that happened, dude, I'd blame myself about that shit forever. I'd be like, oh, I wasn't there. If I was there, I could have stopped that. Like, I know I couldn't have, but, you know, shit like that is constantly on my brain.
Hang on, one second. Can we do a whole Chaos podcast? We can. And then we do down the line for pizza. He will.
Who said that?
Oh, that was Scott. And then
he's not wrong.
And we got Chris Levy has hopped on.
Hey, Chris. Reply to my text next time, will you? He's brutal at replying to text messages.
Chris Levy's bad at replying to texts, is he?
He's terrible. I've never met anybody as bad as replying to text messages. Really? It's got to the point where I'm actually going to tweet at him instead of texting him if he doesn't, you know.
Just go to the hospital.
I'm going to get myself put into A&E in Waterford just so he'd answer me.
Hi. What's your conditions?
Watch him not reply to all these comments now.
He probably just log out. It's like, why are you here? I miss you. So what's the future for Chaos? What's the plans when things finally settle? And they will.
I don't want to...
Are you going to do more meets, more competitions?
Yeah, well, I wanted to do all that shit this year, but I mean...
Well, you can forget about 2020. It's a write-off. Yeah,
2020 is a complete write-off. Like, last year we did a big charity event thing, and we did a big competition, and, like, I'd love to do that stuff again, but I'm not having 150 people in the gym at the moment. You know? So, look, it's 2020. I'm taking it like we're going to get through 2020. And then 2020, hopefully, I don't know, how long is this shit going to be with us for? How long until we can go back to an actual normal, not the new normal, you know? New normal's a load of bollocks. I don't know, man, look.
Well, you're going to have to go. We'll go more on, well...
See, we already do a lot of stuff of online stuff. Yeah. We already do a lot of online stuff. Like, the lads do more of it than I do. But I've got, like... 5 or 6 online clients that are like exclusively online. I don't deal with them in the gym at all. Right?
Yeah.
The lads would have a fair few of them. So, you know, like, I don't know, man. Like, this year, don't get me wrong, them 6 weeks that we were open between lockdowns, we were busier than we have ever been. It was like, well, I mean, it was exactly like it was. People hadn't been able to get out of their houses in 4 weeks and they were desperate to do stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who are you waving at?
No, Kieran said we should put the videos up on YouTube. See, we will.
Why not?
Get a few views. Would you do a YouTube channel of all fitness demonstrations? Or would you go down that road?
The only reason I haven't is so saturated. There's so many.
Yeah, but
so many of them.
But you're putting out good quality content.
Yeah, but
you're not saturating.
I do that with Instagram anyway. Like, if you want to, like, if it's at the stage now as well where I don't have to beg for clients anymore. Like, I'm not being cocky, but like, we're busy. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not begging people to follow me anymore. If people want to work with me, they've got Instagram, we've got Facebook, we've got, you know, email, website. You can get in touch with us however many ways you want. Like, I don't need to add a YouTube to that. I do think a YouTube would be cool, but I think a YouTube would be cool more for fun than anything else.
Would you do Would you write a fitness book, a guide?
No,
Never.
absolutely not.
Why?
Because they're all shite.
Yeah, well, you're one won't be.
No, man, people don't
You're
buy
one
that.
won't be.
People don't buy that shit. People want that shit for free. There's so much free stuff online. Like, it would just be. I've written blogs and shit before, man. But like, that stuff doesn't sell. Like,
No.
to be honest with you, for the next
So what's been the biggest success then for Chaos? If the blogs didn't sell, what? Is it
word of mouth,
pure word of mouth?
word of mouth, man. Honestly, like,
What's been the best success?
actually, I put up a Facebook and Instagram post on Tuesday this week that I had more responses to than anything I've ever put up, and it's not bad for a post you wrote in 5 minutes while you were sitting on the toilet, like,
Yeah.
you know. Like,
So what's been the biggest success out of Chaos in the sense that has someone gone in and completely outdone themselves?
oh man, there's too many to pick from.
Is there?
Yeah.
What's been the best one?
Well, the first one that comes to my girlfriend lost 100 pounds.
Holy shit.
You know what I mean? But like, there's
Wow.
there's stories like that happen all the time. Like, I've had stories of people tell me, like, since they started training, they've been able to come off anti-anxiety medication and, you know, stuff like that. Like, people are just like, it doesn't need to be this huge dramatic thing. Like, actually, one of my favorites happened like 2 weeks ago to me, dude. There was a guy that came in and he was like, "Oh, do you guys do coaching?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's kind of why we're here." And he goes, "Oh, I just want someone to look at my squat and bench press for me." He's like, "I don't need anyone to look at my deadlift. My deadlift's fine." I was like, "Okay." So went in, did the session with him, and he was saying, "Oh, I just want someone to look at my squats. My back always hurts when I do squats." And blah blah blah. So went through the squats with him, changed a few things, nothing major. Taught him how to brace properly. Taught him how to sit back into the squat a little bit more, and then zero back pain. And then the session's going on, and I'm going through his bench press and helping him with his bench press. And then he goes, "Look, my deadlift's like I use a trap bar now because straight bar just wrecks my back all the time, and I just haven't bothered doing it in ages. And every time I try, my back's sore for a few days afterwards." Blah, blah, blah. I was like, "Look, do you want me to have a look at it?" I was like, "We got 20 minutes left this session. I may as well have a look at it. We'll see what I can do." And he was like, "Okay, I'm telling you though, my form's pretty good with it." And he went in, and it was, let's just say, his form was not pretty good. Right?
Really?
It wasn't terrible, but like it was wrong, right? So I took him through how I thought he should set up and how he should brace and all this sort of stuff. And left at that. He sent me a text message after the session thanking me for it, said he got a lot out of it, blah blah blah. And the next day I got a text message off him. It was like, "I just deadlifted for the first time in over a year with zero back pain, and I hit my previous best single for 5 reps." And that moment there was like, okay, because this dude loves training, absolutely loves being in the gym, but he'd had to avoid a lift that he really enjoyed doing because it had given him grief. And like 2 minutes, we fixed that shit. Like, it doesn't have to be these huge dramatic changes that people make where they lose 100 pounds, or, you know, it's little things that people notice day to day that, like, I love when a football player starts training. They're like, "Oh my god, I feel like more explosive and I'm faster now." I'm like, that's fucking awesome. That's the shit I love for it. You know, it doesn't have to be. I mean, there have been them huge dramatic transformations, if that's what you want to call them, but it doesn't have to be that stuff, man. Like, to just help, if people's day-to-day life gets a little bit better as a result of training, that's the best thing ever.
Have you ever seen someone come into the gym quite low and after a few months they're a completely different person?
All the time.
All the time?
All the time.
Really?
Yeah. Look, we're not...
Because it is mental health.
Yeah, we're not doing anything
It's
magical.
fantastic
Like,
for
we're not
mental
doing
health.
anything magical, right?
Yeah.
But I think... I've seen it happen a lot with our classes, right? I've seen it happen a lot at the gym. Yeah, no, I've seen it happen a lot. Like, it's... You start... So the way we train, where we focus on... I suppose more so what your body can do than necessarily just how it looks.
Okay.
Right? So if you're getting stronger, you know you're getting better at something. Right?
Yeah.
And that's really powerful. Like, that's really powerful for people. If someone knows they're getting better at something that you're trying at, right?
Yeah.
That shit, when that you see that change people. Like, in a very, like, people will become way more outgoing, way more confident in themselves because they know, look, I'm working hard at this and I'm seeing results. And lifting weights is one of them things where, like, for the vast majority of the time, you put in the work, you get the results you want. You know what I mean? So it gives that direct correlation between hard work, successful planning, and results. And it's great to watch that happen in real time, because it's like this person came in and they were really nervous about being in a gym, and they were quite introverted and blah blah blah. And a few months later, you're like, I'll say it to people often. I'll be like, that would have killed you 2 months ago, and they'd be like, oh shit, yeah, it would have. And you can see it just changes. People's entire attitude changes. It happens all the time. And I think that's something that a lot of coaches and personal trainers take for granted, is they don't look for them kind of smaller, subtle changes in people. Everyone wants to see, oh well, how many inches did you lose off your waist? How many kilos are you down? I was like, are you happier? Are you more confident? That it's like the soft results, shall we say. It's not the hard results. It's not the X amount of weight lost or Y amount of inches off your waist.
It's
like
the smaller steps.
Yeah, it's the more subtle ways that in which your life is better. Like, does your back hurt less now than when you first came in? Because that's going to make a big difference to people.
Yeah. We have Carpenter. It's the community vibe in the gym. Like I always say, it's more about having a laugh a lot more times than about the weight on your back.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like, and like I said that on the last podcast I was in with you. Is like, we've always tried to make the gym like a community rather than just somewhere people go and train. You know what I mean? It's like you can walk in there at any day of the week and like it can be intimidating walking into our gym, because we have
big boys.
We've not the boys, dude. Our girls are fucking more impressive than our lads. We got some seriously strong people in there, right? Like Friday, Donna benched like 92 kilos.
Right.
Yeah, So like you can imagine if you're a guy walking into there and there's heavy metal blaring and there's people snorting, smelling salts, and there's chalk everywhere, and you've got girls benching more weight than you can squat. Like, it can be intimidating.
Yeah.
But I think what people realize when they spend a little bit of time there is everybody in there is in the same boat as you were at one stage.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Fair
like
enough.
we're all. It's just it's about that, like everybody in the gym trying to help everybody else. Same thing. Like we're stronger as a community than we are as individuals. So, everybody kind of gets behind everybody, pushes everybody, but not in a nasty way. And like, this will help you way. And it's something we've tried to instill.
It's a nice way to end it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alright guys, we're going. Hang on 1 second. From Bert is Chaos isn't just a gym, it's a family.
It's a weird, dysfunctional family full of the weirdest.
That's Jesus.
That's Bertie Christ.
That's Jesus.
Yeah, that's our Lord and Savior, Bertie Christ.
Alright. We're gonna wrap it up.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Thanks for listening, guys, and contributing. And we'll try and do more of these. And it says we'll also try and get a Chaos podcast where you guys can actually talk.
We'll get
more,
all of us.
and I'll actually end up leaving the room. All right. So anyway, best of luck. Thanks, guys.
Open Kildare.
Talk to you soon, and thank you, my son. Bye. End video.
Yeah, we're still being recorded on these, though, right?